Sales staff of Mr. Shopping Mall as well as supervisors are paid salary plus commission for all sales above 15,000 Ghana cedis. Sales staff earn a commission of 4.5% for all sales above 15,000 Ghana cedis up to 50,000 Ghana cedis. For sales above 50,000 Ghana cedis, they are paid additional 3% commission on excess of sales above 50,000 Ghana cedis. Supervisors are paid personal commission of 2.5% for the personal sale above 15,000 Ghana cedis up to 50,000 Ghana cedis, and an override of 3.5% on excess of store sales above 30,000 Ghana cedis. Senior supervisors are, however, paid 3% personal commission for personal sales above 15,000 Ghana cedis up to 50,000 Ghana cedis, and an override of 5% on excess of store sales above 30,000 Ghana cedis. Seidu is a senior supervisor and Selena is a supervisor. Isifu, Yao, Azo, and Adiza are among the sales staff. At the end of October 2014, the store had a total store sales of 168,784.50 and a returns of 16,780. An extra from the records of more show the following. So we have name of personnel, their basic salary, personnel sales, personnel returns, and then draw. So the requirement here is to determine I, the personal commission of each staff, and then II, the gross earning of supervisors. So let's see how we determine the personal commission of each staff and then the gross earning of supervisors. So before we get on to solve for the personal commission of each staff, we need to list out the parameters for each staff in this Mr. Shopping Mall. So we have sales staff. So I want to have sales staff here. Sales staff. So we have sales staff. Then I also have supervisors also at the middle here. Supervisors. Supervisors. Information who are also staff. And then senior supervisors. Senior supervisors who are also part of the staff that we have Mr. Shopping Mall. So let's look at the question once again. Sales staff earn a commission of 4.5% for sales above 15,000 up to 50,000. So they will earn a commission of 4.5%. Once a sales staff personal sales exceed 50,000, he will earn a full commission of 4.5% within the range of 15,000 up to 50,000. So we have two level of sales here. We have what? The 15,000 and the 50,000. The 50,000 here becomes what? The minimum quota of sale, and 50,000 becomes the maximum quota of sales, within which you earn 4.5 commission when your sales exceed what? The 50,000, which is the maximum what? Quota. So let's take note of that. So we come here and we list out that parameter. So we have minimum quota of what? 15,000 Ghana cedis. And then we also have what? Maximum quota. Maximum quota to be what? 50,000 Ghana cedis. 50,000 Ghana cedis. So in between this way, now you earn a commission rate of what? 4.5%. 4.5%. And we're told that any excess sales of any sales staff above 50,000, you earn what? 3% what? Commission. So I'll call it as what? Excess sale above the maximum what? Quota. Above the maximum quota. Above the maximum quota, you earn you what? 3% what? Commission rate. Earn you 3% commission. So that's the information for the sales staff. Let's move on to the supervisors actually. Supervisors actually who are also staff of the organization. Let's see. It says supervisors are paid a personal commission of 2.5% for personal sales above 15,000 up to what? 50,000. So the same condition. Once a supervisor sales at 60,000, he or she will earn a personal commission of what? 2.5% between the range of 50,000 up to what? 50,000. So let's take note of that. So we're also going to list out that parameter here. So we have the minimum quota. Minimum quota to be equal to what? 15,000. Okay, and we have the maximum quota to be equal to what, 50,000. And then the rate for supervisors for commission rate should be equal to what, 2.5 what percent. That's what the question gave to us, 2.5%. 2.5%. But let's see, we also have other information for supervisors. And an override of what? And an override of what? 3.5% on excess of store sales above what? 30,000. So here the 30,000 becomes what? The store what? Quota. Becomes the store quota. So you realize that at the end of getting to the end of this scenario or this situation or this question, we were told that the store had a total sale of 168,784.50 and a returns of 16,780. So we can list those parameters as part of what the incentives for supervisors. So we have that of for store quota. So I call that okay starts with X, and that should be equal to what? 30,000. 30,000. Okay. And an override rate for that was what? 3.5 for supervisors. And then the store sales, I don't know, the store sales was, I use excess to represent as for store sales. And that should be 168,000, 168,784.50. And that of the store returns also was 16,000, 16,780. So that's the store returns for supervisors, right? And then for senior supervisors too, we also told that, let's see from the information here, senior supervisors are however paid 3% personal commission for sales above 15,000 up to what, 50,000. So the same condition for other staff that we have in Nestle Shopping Mall. So we have what, the minimum quota to be equal to 15,000 Ghana cedis. And then we have what, the maximum quota to be equal to what, 50,000 Ghana cedis. So within which you earn a commission rate of what, 3%. That's what we were told in this scenario, 3%. Okay, and as well, you also have other incentive here. And it goes on to tell us that an override of 5% on excess of store sales above what, 30,000. So the same for supervisors, but here the override percentage is what, 5%. So we have that of what, store quota to be equal to what, 30,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, and that of override rate is what, 5%. 5%. And then we have the store sales to be equal to 168,784.50. And that of the store returns was given to us as 16,780. So now these are the parameters we're going to use to answer the personal commission of each staff and that of what, the gross earning of supervisors. The question says we are asked to calculate what the personal commission of each staff. Remember, supervisors are staff, senior supervisors are also staff. That's why the question didn't say that sales staff or supervisors or seniors, we said staff. So staff in general means that we are taking into account all the staff within the organization, whether you're a sales staff, whether you're a supervisor or a senior supervisor. That's what we are asked to calculate. We're going to calculate the personal commission of each staff that we have, categories of staff that we have here. So generically, we define commission to be equal to sales multiplied by the rate of what, commission. So that becomes what, the general formula for commission. The general formula for what, commission. General formula for what, commission. So let's take note that sales multiplied by the rate of what, commission. So we begin with the personal commission as the I part of the requirement. So I. So we have what, we will have a personal commission for sales staff personal commission for supervisors, and a personal commission for senior supervisors. So these are the personal commission headings for various staff that we have within the Mr. Shopping Mall. So we begin with what? So let's see. We begin with what the sales staff. So the sales staff, we have Isifu Yao. We have Isifu. You have Isifu Yao as well, and that of Partiza. They are the sales staff. They are the sales staff. So we begin with them. So we begin with what? Isifu. So let's start with Isifu. So we have Isifu here as a sales staff, right? So before that, you also need to look at the personal sale for Isifu, and if possibly there was any returns against his name. So Isifu Opoku, so we have the personal sale to what? 42,565, but there wasn't any personal returns. So straight up, we can define commission for Isifu to be a sales compared to the minimum quota, since the sales for Isifu was less than that of the maximum quota of 50,000, but it was just 42,565. So we have the sales for Isifu. So sales for Isifu to be equal to 565. So this is still right. So here we will say that the commission for Isifu is going to give us sale minus the minimum quota, personal sale minus the minimum quota, and then multiply by the rate of commission, and then multiply by the rate of commission. Since the sale was less than 50,000, therefore we compare that to the minimum quota alone to get the commission for Isifu. I hope that is clear. So in that line, we say that commission should be equal to, so the sale was what? 42,565, and we have what? The minimum quota to was 15,000. And the rate for sales staff should be equal to, what was the rate? Was 4.5. So we have here to what? 4.5%. Is that okay? So at the end of the day, we have commission to be, so when you take your calculator and compute for the difference between 42,665 minus 15,000, you should be able to get a commission of what? You should be able to get a commission of what? 1,240.43. In two decimal place, you should be able to get 1,240.43. So let's take it. So that is the personal commission for Isifu Opoku. So let's take note of that. After Isifu, then we move on to Yao Mensah. So Yao Mensah also follows suit. So realize that Yao Mensah from the table here, the personal sale for Yao Mensah was what? 23,700, but there wasn't any personal returns against Yao Mensah. So we're also going to define the commission for Yao Mensah similar to that of Isifu that we just calculated. Okay, so we have what? Yao Mensah. So with Yao Mensah 2, we have that of the sale for Yao Mensah to be equal to, so what was the sale? The sale was for 23,700. So it was 23,700. That was the sale for Yao Mensah. 23,700 here. Hope you can see. Right. So if that is the case, then we will say that the commission for Yao Mensah is going to give us, so we have commission to be equal to, so that's going to be the comparison of what the sale with what? The minimum quota, okay, and then multiplied by the rate of commission. So what are we getting for the sale was what? 23,700, and we have the minimum quota to what? 15,000. And then multiplied by the rate of what? 4.5%. 4.5%. So what are we getting as what? Commission. What are we getting as commission? So with your calculator, you should be able to get a commission of what? A commission of 391.50. 391.50 as a commission for what? Yao Mensah. A commission for Yao Mensah. So let's take note of that. And you also move on to calculate the next person on the list for the sales staff is going to what? Kwaziko Azo. So Kwaziko Azo to also have a personal sale of what 48,200, but there was also a personal returns against his name, which is what 1,230.15. So we factor that one in before we calculate the commission. So we have what? So let me use just Azo to move on. So Azo for that. So Azo was having a personal sale of. So we have sale for Azo to be equal to 48,200. 48,200. And that of personal returns for Azo, I represent it as PR, personal returns, to be equal to the personal return for Azo was what 1,230.15. So close the bracket in that line. Okay. So once we have gotten that, then we will say that since we have the sale for Azo to 48,200 and also have a personal return of 1,230.15, before we can actually calculate the commission for Azo, we need to actually calculate what we call the net sales, so that after that we compare that of what the quotas, whether the remaining going to exceed the maximum quota or not. But per the look of things here, you can clearly see that 48,200 is even less than that of what 50,000. And as a matter of fact, when you subtract the personal returns from the 48,200, you're still going to get something lesser than what the maximum quota. And so therefore, we'll compare the net sales of Azo to that of the minimum quota to determine the commission rate attributable or that will be paid to Azo at the end of the day. I believe that is clear. So this is how you're going to define the formula for Azo with regards to the parameters that was given in relation to Azo. So we have commission to be equal to that of what the sales, right? That of what the sales minus, so we have use the sales minus what the personal return, bracket close, minus what the minimum quota, okay, and then multiply by the rate of what commission. This is how we're going to define the formula or how we're going to pay as well for commission. So in that line, we have commission to be equal to, so we have your first big bracket, we have the sale for Azo to be what 48,200, and there was a personal return of what 1,230. So put brackets on this 1,230.15, very important, 0.15. Okay, minus the minimum quota of what 15,000. So what amount tell us that bracket first, right? And then multiply by the rate of what 4.5%. So what are we getting for our net sales? So when you subtract 1,230.15 from 48,200, you should be able to get a net sale of what 46,969.85. Okay, and then compare that to that of what the minimum quota of 15,000, and then multiply by the rate of what 4.5%. So what are we getting as commission for Azo? Since the net sales is less than 50,000, so therefore Azo will earn a commission between the range of minimum quota up to the net sales that has been written as 46,968.85. Okay, so when you calculate that, you should be able to get commission for Azo to be 1,438.64.64. So let's take note of that. So that's how we also calculate for Azo in that line. Then also we also move on to the last person for the sales staff, who is what Haruna Adiza. So Haruna Adiza also have a personal sale of 45,155 and have a personal returns of 1,172.10. So it's also similar to that of what Azo's own. So you use the same formula to calculate that of what Haruna's own. But we also look at the sale. You realize that the sale for Haruna was 45,155, and so therefore it won't actually qualify for a full commission within the range of 15,000 up to 50,000. But that's going to be the net sales against what the minimum quota. So we have Haruna. Or let me use just Adiza. So we have Adiza. So in that line too, we have the sale for Adiza to be equal to what 155, and then also have a personal return to be equal to 1,172.10. Okay, so within this line, it will tell us that our commission is going to give us what? The big bracket, we have what? Our sales compare with what? The personal return for Hadiza, and then compare with what? The minimum quota. Okay, and then multiply by the rate of what? Commission. Since the sale of what? Hadiza is less than the maximum quota, and so therefore, even if when you subtract personal returns from the sale of Hadiza, it's still going to be lesser than that. So she will earn a commission on or between the range of the minimum quota outwards the net sale for that. So we have our commission to be equal the big bracket here. The sale was what? 45,155. Okay, compare that to that of the personal return of 1,172.10. Bracket close. Compare with that to the minimum quota of what? 15,000. Okay, bracket close, and then multiply by what? 4.5%. 4.5%. So what are we getting as what? Our commission at the end of the day. So before that, we need to get a net sale. So when you subtract the difference between that of what? The 45,155 that compared to that of 1,172.10, you should be able to get a net sale of 43,982.90. Then you compare that to that of the minimum quota of 15,000, and then multiply by the rate of what? 4.5%. And what are we getting? We get our commission to be equal to 1,304.23. So this also becomes the commission for what? Haruna Hadiza. I hope that is clear. So that's the personal commission for the sales staff. So let's move on to talk about the personal commission for supervisors, and realize that the supervisors, it was only, we were told that Selena is what? A supervisor. Only Selena who was what? A supervisor, and Saidu was what? A senior supervisor. So just one staff within this category. All right. So in that line too, let's see for the sale of what? Selena. So the sale for Selena was what? 82,000. Also having a personal returns of what? 28,775.40. Okay. So let's see. So we also define the same thing as, so we have, let me use Selena to represent the full name. So Selena. Okay. So within that line, we have what? Sale for Selena to be equal to 82,000. So 82,000. And the personal returns, so here, call it our personal returns, PR, to be equal to 28,775.40. So this also was a personal returns for what? Selena. So by this information, realize that for supervisors to they earn a commission of what? 2.5% within a minimum quota of 15,000 out to what? 50,000 as a maximum quota, where the sales or the net sales for a particular period exceeds what? The maximum quota. If that is the case, then they will earn a full commission of 2.5% within the range of 15,000 up to what? Or within the range of minimum quota and the maximum what? Quota. So before we can even calculate the commission for Selena, we need to know that of what? Net sales for what? Selena. We need to know that of the net sale for Selena. So let's see the net sale for Selena. So we define net sale for Selena to be equal to the actual or the initial sales minus what? The personal what? Returns. Is that okay? So what are we getting here? So we're going to get what? 82,000 minus what? 28,775.40. And what are we getting as what? The net sale. With my next sale, I had a total of what? 53,224.60. 224.60. So that becomes the next sale for Selena. But realize that this next sale is actually what? Greater than the maximum quota of what? 50,000. And so therefore, Selena will earn 2.5% within the minimum quota and the maximum quota. Is that okay? That's going to be the range for what? Selena. So we will define Selena's commission to be equal to that of what? The maximum quota, compare that to what? The minimum quota, okay, and then multiply by the rate of what? Commission. Since the net sale for Selena was greater than that of what? The maximum quota, and we're told that for a supervisor they will earn 2.5% from the sale that is above 15,000 up to what? 50,000. And since the sale of Selena, or the net sale for Selena, was greater than that of what? The maximum quota. Therefore, she will earn a full commission within the range of the minimum quota and the maximum quota. I hope that is clear. So within this line, we will say that commission for Selena is going to give us what? Maximum quota of 50,000. Okay. Compare that to the minimum quota of what? 15,000. And then multiply by the rate of what? 2.5%. I believe that is clear. 2.5%. Yes. So what are we getting as commission at the end of the day? At the end of the day, you should be able to get 875, 875 as commission, 875 as commission. So let's take note of that. So that becomes the commission for what? Selena. So once you are done with the commission for Selena, you also move on to the commission for what? Senior supervisors, the personal commission. So with the personal commission too, senior supervisor was only what? Seidu, who was what? Who is what? A senior or supervisor in Mr. Shopping Mall. So within that line, you also look out for the personal sale for Seidu. So Mohammed Seidu also had a personal sale for 6,700, but also a personal returns of what? 12,000.20. So we also define those parameters here. So we have what? The sale to be equal to what? 56,700, and that of what? The personal return to also to be equal to what? 12,000.20. So bracket will close. All right. So once we have this, we also need to determine the personal or the net sale for what? That of what? Seidu or Mohammed Seidu, who is also a senior supervisor. But I realize that, let's see. But I realize that when you subtract 12,000, even from 50,700, you're going to get something less than that of what? The maximum quota of what? 50,000 that we know as part of a requisite to get a full commission of what? I also realize that the personal rate for senior supervisor is what? 3%. To get a 3% within the range of what? Minimum quota and maximum quota. So when you subtract 12,000 from 50,700, you're going to get something less than 50,000. And so therefore, Seidu is going to earn his commission within a range of what? Is still up to that of what? The minimum quota, or from the minimum quota to what? His net sales for the period. I hope that is clear. So we'll define commission for Seidu to be equal to that of what? The sale, compare it to what? The personal return, and then compare that to what? The minimum quota, okay, and then multiply all by the rate of what? Commission, and then multiply all by the rate of commission. So what are we getting? So we have commission to be equal to, so we have the sale for Mohammed to be what? 56,700. Compare that to the personal return of what? 12,000 point what? 20. Okay, and now compare that to the minimum quota of 15,000, 15,000, and then multiply all by the rate of what? 3%. So what are we getting as what? Our net sale. So when you subtract 12,000 from 6,700, you should be able to get a figure of what? 44,699.80. Compare that to what? 15,000, and then multiply by the rate of what? 3%. So what are we getting as commission? So commission is going to give us a figure of 890.99. In two decimal places, we will get 890.99. So once we get the personal commission for each staff, that is fine. The next requirement here was for us to calculate what? The gross earnings of the supervisor. So here, the question said that supervisor. So whether it was a normal supervisor or a senior supervisor. That is what we need to do. So we calculate gross earnings for all supervisors, whether a normal supervisor or a senior supervisor. I believe that is clear. All right. So once we have that, then for us to determine the gross earning by formula should capture all the incentives to include the commission and other incentives that form part of the earning that the staff will actually earn at the end of the day. I hope that is clear. That's gross. So gross earning will take into account the summation of all other incentives that a staff must receive as part of what a service that you provide for Mr. Shopping or as part of the company that he or she would work with in that line. So before that, we need to calculate what the other commission that was presented to us in this question as what override or commission for supervisors, so that at the end of the day we can include that as part of the gross earning. So let's calculate the override commission for that of what Selena and that of what Seidu. So we'll have that here as what override or commission. I'll shorten it, override commission. I also have override commission for senior supervisor, who is what Seidu. All right, so in calculating that of the override commission too, let's see. Realize that the store quota was 30,000 and override is what 3.5% for supervisors, and the store sales at the end of the day was 168,784.50 and a store returns of 16,780. So before we can get that of our store commission, I'll call it as what override commission, CO starts with O, as what I'll define the formula as what the store sales, right, compared with the store return. There was a store return, so you need to subtract that to get the store commission amount, okay? And then compare that to what the minimum what store quota, which was given as what 30,000 in this particular case, in this one, okay? Once you get that, you then multiply all by what the override rate, So what are we getting? What are we getting for Selena? So realize that the store sales was what 168,784.50. We compare that to the store returns of 16,780. Okay, and then compare the two sum or the two results to that of what the minimum store quota or the store quota, which was what 30,000. Okay, and then multiply all by the override rate of what 3.5 for supervisors, 3.5 for supervisors, 3.5% for supervisors. And what are we getting? For that? Before that, we need to get our store commission amount. So our store commission amount between the range of store sales minus the store returns, that's going to give us what 152,004.50. We compare that to that of what? That of the store quota of 30,000. Okay, and then multiply by the override rate of what 3.5%. So what are we getting as what override commission or commission on override? Well, for Selena, we are getting what? We are getting a figure of what 4,270.16 in 2 decimal place. You should be able to get 4,270.16. That's in 2 decimal places. 16. So let's take note of that. So that becomes the override commission for that of what Selena. It also comes to calculate the override commission for that of what a senior supervisor, who's called what Seidu. But in this particular case, we are going to use the same information to calculate that, but the only changes that will reflect here is going to that of what the override rate for what supervisor is going to what 5% for supervisor, that is senior supervisors. That's going 5%. Here was 3.5, but here going to what 5%. Okay, so the same information or the same formula. So we have what commission what override commission or commission override to be equal to our store sales compared with the store returns, okay, and then compare that to our store quota, multiply all by what the override what rate. So what are we getting? Bring the same information here. So we have our CO to be equal to 168,000, 168,784.50. Compare that to what 16,780 bracket close. Compare that to our store quota of 30,000 and then multiply by the rate of, instead of 3.5 for senior supervisor was what? It was 5%. So we multiply by what? 5%. Multiply by 5%. So at the end of the day, we should be able to get our store commission amount, which should be equal to the same difference of what? 152,004.50. Compare that to what? 30,000 and then multiply by the rate of what? 5%. The rate of 5. So we are getting our override commission, our commission for override for SAIDU to be equal to 5% on that of what? The difference should be able to fetch us what? Should be able to fetch us 6,100.23 into decimal place. Should be able to get this 6,100.23 as our override what? Commission, as our override commission. So once we are able to get this commission calculated well, then the next requirement is we are asked to calculate what? The gross earning for what? Supervisor. So gross, and going to have gross earning for what? Gross earnings for that of Selena, and gross earning for what? And for who? That of Poseid, right? So gross earnings. So by formula, we define gross earnings as all incentives, the summation of all incentives within the organization that is waiting for deduction. So gross earnings is the summation of all incomes, summation of all incentives are waiting for what? Deduction, But since we are not talking about the net earning, we are talking about gross earning, you find the summation of all incentives or summation of all incomes that should be paid to a particular staff within the Mesto Shopping Mall. I believe that is clear. So by formula, for us to find the gross earning for that of what? SAIDU, by formula, we define gross earning GE to be equal to what? The summation of what? The personal salary as XP plus what? The personal commission plus what? Any override commission for supervisors, any override or commission for supervisors. Okay, so for that of Selena, we define gross earnings to be equal to. So realize that for Selena there was what? Basic salary for Selena to what? 485.75. So bring that here as what? As 485.75. And also take into account her personal commission, which was what? 870. So we bring that one also here. 875 plus, was there any override for Selena? Yes, there was an override of what? 4,270.16. So we bring that also here. 4,270.16. Was there any other incentives for Selena? No. So this was just the three incentives that we need to pay to that of what? Selena, as we being what? A company or a mall called what? Shopping mall. That's Mr. Shopping Mall. So I don't know, when you add all these three items, you should be able to get a total of what? 5,630.91. Can confirm that with your calculator and let's see. So that's what we're going to get for that for Selena. That's for Selena. So let me bring that of SAIDU's own here. So we also define the gross earning for SAIDU. So this is going to be for Selena. who is a supervisor, okay? And the senior supervisor Seidu, so it's going to comprise of a total of, so let's see. So that one to, if there's any salary for Seidu, Mohammed Seidu also take that into consideration. So we have what? A salary for Seidu to what? 550.25. So we have that also here. So let's bring that also here. So that's going to what? 550.25. Okay. Plus, was there any personal commission for Seidu? Yes, and that was what? 890.99. So that was what? 890.99. From here, you can confirm that here. Or we can see that, right? And then, was there any other override for Seidu 2? That is yes. So override of for Seidu was what? 6,100.423. So when we add that one also here, we're gonna have here to be what? 6,100.63. Sorry, 0.23. And what are we getting into? That's all for what the senior supervisor Seidu. So what are we getting in all as what the gross earning? That's going to give us a total sum of what? 7,541.47. 7,541.47. That's for what? Seidu. Mohammed Seidu. And that is how actually a particular question like this is being solved on commission, having different types of commission coming in there, giving what? Different quotas for us to calculate what commission for what these what different kind of stuff that we find in Mesto Shopping Mall. So that is the solution to this particular intense question on commission. So thank you for watching. The video was really helpful to you. Please do well to make sure to like the video. If today is your first time on this channel, do subscribe to the channel. If also an old member of the channel, thank you once again for always visiting our channel and watching our content. So please do well to like and share the video. So I will see you next video where we discuss other issues in that line. So please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you and bye-bye.